The morning sun had barely risen over the glass towers of Halden City when 41-year-old Jonas Reed mopped the marble floor of the Lindmore Corporate Plaza lobby, unaware that his entire life was about to collide with a destiny he never asked for. In that vast building filled with polished suits and billion-dollar decisions, Jonas moved invisibly, just a janitor with worn shoes, aching hands, and the quiet sadness of a man life had pushed too hard. But at 9:07 a.m., when the elevator doors slid open and the wheelchair rolled out, sleek, silver, and pushed by a trembling assistant, Jonas looked up and met eyes with a woman whose face he recognized from newspapers and billboards. Serafina Vale, the youngest self-made billionaire in the city, the untouchable business icon, the woman who once climbed mountains for sport, now paralyzed from the waist down after a violent accident. Her gaze was cold, distant, but there was a silent storm hiding behind it, and Jonas felt something shift inside him, something he couldn't name, but something powerful enough to change both of their lives forever. If you believe in second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Kindora Life. Your support truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. Jonas had arrived early that morning, long before most workers, just to pick up extra hours. His teenage son Arlo needed money for his school's year-end science competition trip, and Jonas didn't want him to miss out like he himself had as a kid. Ever since losing his wife to an unexpected illness 5 years earlier, Jonas had been doing everything alone. Raising Arlo, working double shifts, pretending he wasn't exhausted, pretending the loneliness didn't eat at him every night. But despite his struggles, Jonas never stopped believing that kindness mattered, even when the world rarely returned it. Serafina's arrival in the building had already stirred whispers among employees. Once known for her fierce independence and relentless ambition, she now moved through the world with stiffness not just of her body, but her pride. She hated being in a wheelchair, hated needing an assistant to push her, hated how people looked at her with silent pity. She had fired 3 physical therapists in the past 2 months for saying things she didn't want to hear. Her empire was suffering too. Projects delayed, partners losing confidence, her board questioning her capability. She hid it all behind a mask of steel. So when her assistant paused because Jonas's mop bucket was blocking the hallway, Serafina's irritation flared. But as Jonas quickly moved it aside, he spoke in a soft, steady voice, one so sincere it caught her off guard. He told her he hoped she had a good morning, told her he admired her resilience, and she snapped back with icy sarcasm. She didn't want admiration. She wanted her legs back, her old life back, her control. But Jonas didn't look away. Instead, he said something no one had dared to say to her since her accident, something simple but startling. "I know you'll walk again," he said gently, "and I can help you." Her assistant froze, horrified. Serafina stared at Jonas, and then a sharp, humorless laugh escaped her lips. Help? From a janitor? The absurdity stung her pride. She told him he didn't understand anything, that she had some of the best doctors in the world, and still nothing had changed. She told him to stick to his job and leave her broken life alone. But inside, her laugh trembled, not because she found his words ridiculous, but because a small, wounded part of her wanted to believe him. Yet belief felt dangerous, so she pushed it away. Later that day, Jonas found her alone in a sunlit corner of the executive floor. Her assistant had stepped away, and Serafina was staring out the tall glass windows at the city below, hands gripping her wheelchair armrests as if holding herself together. Without expecting a reply, Jonas spoke softly, telling her about Arlo, about losing his wife, about how he had learned that sometimes the things we think make us weaker actually end up showing us our greatest strength. Serafina didn't respond, but she didn't tell him to leave either. Her silence was a crack, small but real. Over the next week, Jonas kept crossing paths with her, not by design, simply because the building was enormous, but somehow they kept intersecting. Each time he offered a word of encouragement, a gentle observation, a reminder that healing isn't a straight line. At first, she remained guarded, but gradually her walls shifted. She found his presence oddly grounding. He wasn't intimidated by her power. He didn't tiptoe around her wheelchair. He saw her. Not the billionaire, not the paralyzed woman, just her. And little by little, she stopped sneering at his kindness. Then, one Wednesday morning, Serafina asked him, almost shyly, what he meant when he said he could help her walk. Jonas hesitated because he knew how outrageous it sounded. He wasn't a therapist. He wasn't a doctor. He was a man who had once helped his wife through months of painful physical rehabilitation when illness had weakened her limbs. He had learned exercises, techniques, stretches, not to fix her, but to help her fight. Maybe, he said, those same methods could help Serafina, not because he possessed magic hands, but because she desperately needed someone who cared without expecting anything in return. Serafina stared at him for a long moment, and then, quietly, she said she would try. They began small, in the daytime warmth of the rooftop garden, where Jonas often went to clear his mind. He showed her how to strengthen her arms, her core, her posture. He didn't push her too hard, didn't overwhelm her. He reminded her that even the tiniest progress mattered. Serafina's assistant watched anxiously at first, but soon realized Jonas wasn't doing anything reckless. He was patient in a way the professionals hadn't been. Days passed. Then weeks. And something unexpected happened, not with Serafina's legs yet, but within her. She started smiling sometimes. She started breathing deeper. She started believing just a little that hope wasn't a cruel joke. People in the building noticed the change, though no one knew the cause. Meanwhile, Jonas found himself opening up again too. Serafina asked about Arlo, about Jonas's late wife, about his dreams he thought he no longer deserved. He told her he just wanted to give his son a life better than the one he'd had. He never mentioned his own loneliness, but Serafina sensed it anyway. Then came the morning everything cracked. They had been practicing near the glass railing of the garden. Jonas had his hands gently supporting her upper body as she tried to shift weight into her legs. For a fraction of a second, she felt something, like a spark, a message from a nerve that had been silent too long. It startled her, and she gasped, losing balance. Jonas caught her immediately, but Serafina broke down, frustration pouring out of her like a storm. She cried, saying she was foolish, that she had imagined it, that she was tired of hoping, tired of trying. And Jonas, who rarely allowed himself to feel his own grief, knelt beside her and spoke with a voice so raw she had never heard anything like it. He told her pain was not a setback, but a sign that she still cared. He told her progress was real even when invisible. He told her he believed in her, not because she was famous or brilliant, but because she was strong in a way she didn't see. That day marked a shift. Serafina began working harder, not recklessly, but determinedly. She followed routines Jonas gave her, practiced hand grip bars, learned to trust her upper body strength, and slowly her muscles remembered what it meant to wake up. The breakthrough came on a bright Sunday morning. The building was quiet, almost peaceful, sunlight reflecting off the windows like liquid silver. Jonas and Serafina were alone in the physical therapy room she had set up privately. She held the parallel bars. Jonas stood close but didn't touch her.